One more game of Scrabble today. Chloe Fatsis and Noah Berger in a game that will have serious implications. Chloe with a tough loss to Seth Lipkin in the last round, but she is still at 9-4. She and several other players range from third to seventh at that 9-4 record, and that whole pack 2 games behind Seth Lipkin and Mac Meller, who are each at 11-2. But Noah Berger is having a good start to this tournament himself. He sits at 7.5, 5.5. Another win here would be big for his chances as well. We'll see if Chloe can launch herself to the top of this bubble and maybe be in third or fourth place at the end of day 2. Chloe and Noah, 2 players about to get underway. Let's not forestall. Let's play Scrabble.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this one. I don't know much about Noah at all. He plays, just looking at his stat sheet here, mainly in Berkeley, and he's come to a few nationals now. So the top players here are probably somewhat familiar with him, but I think it might be one of his first times on stream. He's having a really good start. I think he's at 7.5 wins and 5.5 losses, currently slotted in 14th place in a very competitive field. So I think this should be a really good one.
Playing against a person like Noah is always a challenge. Playing against a complete unknown. This is a guy who only plays nationals, basically. He's played 1 days in Berkeley, California, and he's played in nationals. This is his 4th SPC. And otherwise, there's almost no scouting report. It makes it interesting for Chloe to adjust in those tough situations. We'll see if she has any kind of history against him or how you play against an unknown opponent. But Chloe and Noah, we expect a good game here for both of these. Noah to play first, and we are underway.
This is what makes nationals so exciting, is that it brings opponents from across the country to play against each other. You have Noah down in California in the southwest of the country, Chloe's studying in Rhode Island in the northeast of the country, and yet here they are in sort of the middle of the country, competing over their favorite game.
Just the beauty of Scrabble that you get people from everywhere. You all automatically have something in common with them. You both like words and this word game, and instantly something you can talk about, but instantly people you can network with, connect with in any corner of the continent at any time. I love it. Noah first, EELNNTR, the opening rack. I think the 6-letter Lenton or the 4-letter Lent is what we're going to see here.
I think Lenton's one of those words that doesn't take an S, so if you're going to play it, you want to be really sure on that. We'll see which way he's going to exchange too. That's also reasonable here. That's a really nice leave.
That's one of those that, is going to run up in a sim too. Yeah, actually, after a little simulation, this is the top option here for Noah. So it takes that extra second, baffles the commentator, and then, no, he does what is actually correct. Great choice there from Noah. Throw it back. Exchange two.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And I also like how casually he's sitting. He looks so comfortable. We see a lot of people come on stream, their legs are shaking, and yet he's got a leg sitting up, and he just looks like he's playing with a friend, like at a cottage or something. It's really refreshing to see.
Yeah, who needs stress or pressure? I'm playing my favorite board game with 300 other nerds. I'm on cloud 9 right now, and I get to do it on the internet, no less. Dope.
And to play against someone as lovely as Chloe, I love seeing women on stream. I'm friends with Agnes Kramer, who's been rising up the ranks. She's been playing a lot on stream, and she says every time now she goes to a tournament, she has so many women coming up to her in the lower division saying how motivating it is to see her on stream. A lot of people have been playing for so long, and they just love seeing a woman rise. So I really think representation does matter. And not that Chloe's playing on here for any sort of representation reasons. She's here because she's one of the best players in the field. And it looks like she's going to set up Dodo, which is smart because it would set up her S.
Dodo is an option here. Dord, the 6-letter D-O-O-R-E-D, is 20, but I think hitting back with the counter exchange makes a lot of sense. After an exchange too, the calculus changes. Your opponent doesn't have a random rack. Your opponent has an awesome rack, and you want to play as small as possible. So exchanging makes sense, or just OD makes sense. But then if you're going to play OD, Dodo makes exactly the same floaters available. So a tough turn. I think I'd exchange here, but it is really close, really marginal. Chloe opting for Dodo. I can't fault her for it.
Yeah, you're only giving 2 tiles. Unfortunately, I think that O does give a bingo. renode, I believe is a word.
Or dethrone, it's anagram, yes. The O, one of the floaters Noah needed. No sevens. Go ahead.
Sorry, I come up with the weird one, but yeah, there is a common one that I hope people would have been able to find. It looks like Noah is finding the strange one here. I agree, you really don't want to be giving tiles back after an exchange of just 2, but only the O, only the D. I think it's just enough points that I would be comfortable playing it, although it didn't work out for Chloe. She's giving back a bingo, and she drew really poorly.
All right, so Renode, the option here. It's crazy how Scrabble does this to people. You find the obscure word and miss the higher scoring dethrone, but dethrone through the lower O would be 72. This just 66. But hey, that Scrabble. I'm a little disappointed. I wanted to see dethrone because it's an awesome word knowledge check. What are the back hooks to dethrone? We would find out if either of these players know. But alas, Renode instead the play.
I would be surprised if Chloe knew that, just having played Chloe a lot, like if it took an R. But she just drew terribly. She left so nicely, and look at that, QOOE. They all have to go. Nothing to think about on that turn, unless maybe if you wanted to keep an O. But with the O floater and Dodo, I think ERS is just natural, and you have to make that. And you have to do it quite quickly, too, I think.
EERS, EORS, or just ERS, all reasonable leaves on the exchange. But yeah, you're right. An abysmal draw. I drew EOOQ. I have to exchange literally the 4 tiles I just drew, and my opponent bingoed. But Chloe's got to hold on to hope here, try to catch back up. Good exchange from her. And back to Noah. He's found the first blank in this game, ECILNW blank, his post bingo draw. And we'll get to see if he can pull the trigger on his bingo here. The 5-letter word Welch is a play people make often. It's a play most of the players in Division 1 know. But does Noah know that it's a verb and welching is an option? I sure didn't.
Well, I did. To me, that sounds pretty common, like to Welsh or to Welch. I think they mean the same thing. So we'll see if he's able to find it. Neither of us know too much about Noah. You were saying you have played him before, but when you've only played someone once or twice, it's hard to get a full read on them. We'll see if he's able to come up with it. And just looking quickly to Chloe's rack, she's drawn the other blank. So we saw a lot of fireworks with bingos in a row in, I think, our first game, and I think we're going to see a few in a row in this one too.
Chloe goes from about the worst draw ever to a really awesome draw. That's a great rack because the V means your bingo is going to score a bunch of points too. The 61-point sadness bingos are not as fun as the 80-point mammoths, and a mammoth lined up for Chloe on the next turn. Man, this turn is hard for Noah. I feel for him. As soon as you said Welch is the alternate spelling of Welsh, it hit me like I've looked this up before. I know welching is to not pay your debt, and it maybe should be a slur, but it's not. Yeah, I've seen it before. You're right, but Scrabble's a game where we've all seen a bunch of stuff dozens of times, and we continue to forget it because we're all human beings.
And with the WC, you don't necessarily look for a bingo through the H. It does have some symmetry. The CH, you should be looking there, but I could see why maybe he's first looking through the T, through the R, the E, the O. Through the O, is clownier a word? I guess not.
No.
So hopefully we don't see a phony like that come down. So it's just the one bingo is what you're saying here.
That's correct. Just the one bingo is welching for 80, and otherwise it's Welch or Wench are his next best plays according to the engine. So no other bingos. We may see a phony clownier, makes a lot of sense, but it's welching or bust here for Noah.
Yeah, and the more I think of clownier, like I think I wouldn't have even thought it was a word. So hopefully, looks like he's pulling the W aside. No, he's gonna play winch, I think. So he's getting close. He's in the right spot, but either he doesn't know the word or he hasn't come up with it. And if he didn't find it, this looks as reasonable as anything else.
Yeah, winch or welch in this spot's all you got, and it makes more sense to hold the E here. So winch, the play from Noah. If you're not going to pull the trigger on the bingo, got to make the second best play. Looks like he's done that here. And Chloe now, EERSSV blank, is going to drop down a gazillion points. It looks like this is...
For sets, I think.
sets or versers are both valid. So let's try to figure out from our team what the blank is. How fortunate that your bingo play is pluralizing for node or dodo. It looks like
If it makes
probably
it a
verse
T,
sets.
it would take a front O hook, right? Overset. So that would be a big consideration. So hopefully Christian or Andrew on the floor can get us which letter was circled by Chloe there to designate the blank.
Yeah, that's a huge decision. This is one of the most important blank designations we've had in a while. We'll figure this one out and communicate that when we have it.
So Noah drew into a few too many vowels here, and that's frustrating when he like had a bingo on the last turn, and now I'm not sure if he's going to get one down on this turn.
No, I don't think so. No, I'm still trying to figure out what that blank is. I'm going to assume that it's a T. That's the word you're 100% on, as opposed to versers, which feels a little bit weird to me. If the blank is a T, OG and oversets is easily the option here for Noah. If the blank is an R, this turn gets rough. Geode through the D and Threnode is probably the play, but a tough situation.
Yeah, this is tough. I could see a phony like Telogene come down, Telogene. Hopefully we don't see that one. I just looked it up to see if it was good. That's how I know it's phony. OG, yeah, like OG would be a good play, but it does set up both the D and the S. So it's a bit scary to play, but it's so good equity-wise. And when you're holding that blank, you really want to be working towards a bingo. So we'll see what he does here.
Yeah, we will see. Indeed, the blank is a T, confirmed, versets. So oversets is in play. And it looks like Noah has set up OG, likely playing in that spot.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Chloe not being 100% sure of versers or not having seen it. I also would have played versets, just being 100% on that. Whereas verser, that's a really tough one to know for sure. So no knock on Chloe missing that. That's really difficult.
Yeah, especially in double challenge. Like I don't know. I play the word you're sure of. I guess especially in 5-point challenge, play the word you're sure of. But if you've got a valid double, yeah, just do that. Before I put my foot in my mouth any further, I'll stop talking.
So even though Noah missed a bingo last turn, and he's not going to have one here, he's only down by, I guess, 19 points, and it's his turn. So he's still in a really good position because he also has the blank. So he doesn't have to panic, although there is that feeling like you're on stream, you feel like you're missing bingos, but still he looks rather calm at the table, a really good sign.
The longer I look at Telogene, the more I'm like, oh yeah, that is a word. I've seen that before. Putting phonies in my brain, Jared. Oh, I think I would have played it.
I would
If
have
I were
played it, to be honest. I wouldn't have played clownier. I would have thought about that and said, no, that's not a word. But Telogene, I really thought it was good. I was typing it just to make sure it was good, and then it came back no good. So Telogene is a word, Telogen, but it only takes a back S.
That's what it was. Telogen, not Telogene. And Chloe's got a pretty good grasp on the words, or at least she did the last time I got to watch her play. So that would likely not stay on the board against her. Here's the play. Looks like instead OGEE through the E, either blindness to the front hook or unsureness. I'm not sure what that was, but OGEE through the E, just 9 points for Noah.
It's tough. Like maybe he saw oversets, but he just was scared of getting hit with that D or that S, and he likes his position with the blank. He drew a whole lot of T's here, so we'll see what happens when we get back to him. But first, let's try and figure out Chloe's rack, because this is a difficult one.
Yeah, so Chloe, she's only up 10. It's a little early to be thinking super defense here, but you would like to start steering this game in a defensive direction. I think the other thing is you don't want to get caught up in the weeds. You want to play off at least 4 or 5 of these tiles. The play of Turnip down from the T and 3 node for 18 points looks like a good one to me. Knocks out the back S hook on Dodo, turns over several of these tiles, doesn't give up anything too juicy back. Turnip feels like the standout play. Nuncio, Nuncio, plays for 14 to the O in Dodo. That's another pretty nice option, but trying to get out of this rack and play off several of these tiles should be the MO here for Chloe.
Yeah, you got to play long. The lead is only 10, and you don't have a good rack, so I wouldn't even really call it much of a lead at all. I like both those plays. They both leave pretty nicely. Turnip leaves CN, Nuncio leaves PR, so some decent synergy there. Nuncio gives back almost nothing, but we'll see which one she goes with. Turnip is the one that she found, and I like that play.
I would play Turnip. Now, chat pointing out that Turnip does not just have an S back hook. Turnip also takes the Y, Turnipy. Now that I know that, this is a little bit scarier, but that's not a huge hook to give up. It's just something if I'm trying to play control, I may not want to do. So that might come up into play later on. Turnip to Turnipy, a possibility. We'll see. Looking back over to Noah after drawing 3 E's, he now has 3 T's on his rack. So frustrating in Scrabble when you draw these blanks and you can't bingo. He can actually bingo out of this rack. Toilet, Toilatte, plays through the I in turnip, and teletext, Teletext. Never seen that word before in my life. That was also there. But Noah does not spot either of those, instead playing Tet for 15 on this play. He trails 116 to 129, and Chloe's found CHIINVY.
Well, she did draw that Y. The turnipy hook is scarier on the right side of the board because more words end in Y instead of beginning with Y. It's good to know sort of these letter patterns of where letters tend to be in words. I know that Kenji's book, Kenji Matsumoto, wrote Breaking the Game, and he really went through all the different letters. And I know Will Anderson has put out video content about the different letters. So definitely look to follow some of these different Scrabble personalities if you're looking to improve your game.
There are so many resources out there. I said yesterday, and I'll say again today, I feel like we're approaching a second golden age in Scrabble, where the first golden age in competitive and organized play was shortly after Stefan Fatsis's Word Freak came out. We had a nationals with, I think, 700 people at it in New Orleans in 2004. And I think with the accessibility, the more and more games, more and more books, more and more videos, more and more everything out there, I think we're going to see more and more people realizing just how awesome this game is, how many layers and sub layers there are. I think we're quick approaching that. But if you haven't spotted or seen the Will Anderson YouTube videos, you've got to. They're gold. If you haven't read Kenji's book, Breaking the Game, or he's got a second part. There's a novice book and an advanced book. Kenji has 2 excellent books. That'd be Kenji Matsumoto. Someone can spell his name out in chat. So many resources if you want to learn this game. And it's not a game you'll master overnight. It's not a game you'll master in a week. It's not a game you'll master in a month or in a year. Not even a game you'll master in 10 years, except like maybe if you're a freakish human being. Annette Oberstadt, I think, is going to master this game in 5 years or less, but she's a freak and already has a ton of success in other games. Scrabble's a game that takes so long to get good at, and the better you get, the more you realize you're actually pretty freaking terrible at it anyway. Ivy, the move here for Chloe, is an interesting one, but she is capitalizing on the turnipy hook. And I feel like the last couple turns for Noah felt kind of blank-ish. Putting the I there is gutsy from Chloe, but this is so much equity on the table for her.
Yeah, it's scary. She wouldn't have done it if she had to put the E there, but I like that she knew turnipy. It was definitely the most points that seemed available. It's an aggressive play, and it is scary, but it is one that I like. And I also like that you're mentioning Stefan Fatsis and didn't even mention that, of course, it's Chloe's father. So we have a father-daughter in the top division. We also have a father-son with Clay Daniel, I believe, and his son Knox. And we saw 2 brothers do commentary this morning, you and your brother Matt, Chris, and then you guys were calling 2 brothers in the Collins division, the great Ranky brothers. So there's a lot of family dynamics in this wonderful scene.
Yeah, I love a good Scrabble super family. Of course, I come from a Scrabble mediocre family. Neither one of us, I would say, is super, but it's always cool to keep it in the family. And even if you don't have a family member who plays, it's really helpful to have a rival or sparring partner of some type, just somebody to play against every day, to bounce positions off of, to be like, hey, I learned this new cool hook. Do you want to hear it? If you have someone like that, you're going to improve way faster.
So Noah's, of course, looking for triple triples first. I don't think he has one. I see he has at least out deal with OG'd. He's now set up ovulate. Does that play somewhere? He's
So
definitely going to have to
outdeal
find a bingo on this turn.
outdeal is not a word, so he should
Oh,
not play that.
see?
He does have just a few bingos. The highest scoring, just 64, is Razulet down from the R and 3 nodes. These are other bingos here for him as well. Populate and
Populate.
Pedalus from the P are 61, and Populate, the one he's pulling the trigger on here, finally gets the bingo down after struggling through this blank and some awkward draws. Noah pulls ahead 177 to 159 and blocks the bingo that Chloe had set up and ready to go, ensuring. Big swing there.
So it's just out lead. There's no out deal, which makes sense. I don't really know how you would out deal, but earlier you thought it was over read instead of over dare. So we're continuing to show our weaknesses, but that's why we're in the booth. You know, if you can't do, you got to teach. Isn't that the expression?
That's exactly the expression. And I can make that joke because I was a teacher. So I can say it. Now, teachers are some of the most tremendous and talented folks out there, underappreciated always. Thanks for what you do. But yes, I can't keep this stuff straight anymore. There's too many words: out deal, out lead, over read, over dare. Like, forget, it's just too much to keep track of, and shows what a big brain these top players have to keep at least most of it right. Though I do tear them apart when they get it wrong.
And the amount of time, like, you know, if I had more time in my life, maybe I would want to study these words. I studied a lot during COVID. That was a great opportunity. You know, all of a sudden the world stopped and I was able to really get a good grasp on those words. And for a brief moment in time, I was a really good player. And it's hard to keep up. I know Chloe was away this year doing a semester abroad in Greece. I hope she doesn't mind me sharing that, but it's hard. She steps away a bit from the game, and it's really hard to stay at this level. And yet we've been watching her play, and she's been playing really sharply. As she looks at a rack now with just one vowel, and she sees two, actually three very big scoring spots on this board, through the A and populate down to the triple, beneath the E and populate over to the double, and through the I and Ivy. So which spot would you maybe be looking to play at here, Matt?
My brain would explode because I hate open boards and I hate when my opponent can score a lot. And there's so many ways for my opponent to score a lot here. I'd be terrified, but Chloe's going to have to hang on and just try to navigate this. The play of CARR through the A in populate feels like a good one to me so far. If I can't hit all of the spots, so I'm going to try to take this triple. I think Noah takes the other triple a lot of the time, and then I'm going to hold on to HING, which lets me play beneath populate very often next turn. I think that's the best sequence here, but playing just HANG or something, or GACH, also makes some sense. HAIR, another good option there, but I think you play in this spot first.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. Holding on to that H for the EH play, because I agree he's going to play on the left more often than not. And there's also a big scoring spot with the O of populate going above that, going to the left. So this board has a lot to play with, and Noah has the big Z tile. So will he be able to find a spot for his big ammunition here?
Yeah, Noah's got to make a decision here between Blaze and Booze, the eternal dilemma, or perhaps both. Both play next to Winch, BOOZE, BLAZE. Both are 52. Bozo also plays up there between 50. So, Jared, pick your poison: Blaze, Booze, or something else.
Do not play Blaze, because isn't ablaze a word? That would seem reckless when you have the other options. So Bozo seems to make a lot of sense. ALE is very strong here. Or you could play Booze. That also seems totally good to me. But I would not play Blaze, because I think a lot of the time you get hit. And looking at Chloe's rack, you would get hit with Racing and a Blaze for, I can't even can't calculate how many points that's going to be. That's going to be over 100.
That is going to be just an absolute killer score. Yeah, I mean, Blaze has some merit because holding the O's for overset feels good, but yeah, the front A could lead to trouble and would lead to massive trouble here. I think we're going to see Bozo or Booze in that spot. We might also see Bazoo or Bozo with oversets, and it looks like he's just looking at different quadrants of the board entirely as well. I'm trying to figure out where Zoa would go here. Maybe the same spot, but not taking ZIT.
Yeah, this is an interesting turn. I like that he's taking a bit of time here. He's frustrated when you have that Z and that I sitting there in the bottom left. You feel like there's got to be a way you can really hit that spot, but he just can't get the Z to land on the multiplier like you would want. So I think what you really want to be doing here is thinking about what you're playing, what you're leaving, so you can go forward. And I really want him to play something in that top left, I think. It's just too many points to pass up. When you're scoring over 50, I think you just got to take it.
Perhaps we'll see if you really want to bingo OUZO, or we'll see this instead. All right, this is not what I was expecting to see in this situation, but BEZIL knocking out the triple, holding AOO. Somebody run that through the rack evaluator. This is definitely a misplayed rack from Noah, missing the spot at the top to drop Booze or Bozo down.
Yeah, I think sometimes people see the triple lanes and, you're scared maybe your opponent will hit or you just think it has to be the best spot to play. But there was 52 points and not keeping 3 vowels. And you'll see he only drew 1 consonant and 1 semi-consonant in the Y. So that play is a really big negative swing in his winning percentage, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, that is a big swing, and he needed to draw consonants for this gambit to work out. It did not work out, so big swing in this game. Chloe's got a tough decision now to navigate. Looks like she wants to play Crag, CRAG, but that sets up another big front hook in the same line. So Crag feels kind of nuts from Chloe. It's definitely the best equity play, but is that a risk you need to take, setting up an S with 2 unseen and not 1 on your rack? Would you play Crag, or would you be looking elsewhere, Jared?
I would not want to play Crag. She doesn't have the S yet. She knows he's just drawn a bunch of tiles. Like, she could draw it herself, but it becomes something you got to be worried about the rest of the game. Maybe she could play banging through the BN disconnected, keep CR a nice leave, and sort of go towards the S's, which I think are very important on this board, to hook OG or to hook Tet to Stet. She is going to play it. I wonder if she's seen the S from ING. Obviously has a nice lead. She could bingo from the R in hair, from the T in Tet. But if this S hook is very important now, and the S becomes by far the biggest tile left in the bag right now.
Yeah, S is just huge in this game to unlock the right side with OG, so that also takes a D. To get to the top with Scrag or even Stet, S's are enormous tiles, and Chloe has gone in and found not just an S, but a bingo in Jingles. I don't see that it fits here, but could be a huge swing depending on how Noah navigates this turn. AAE OOPY, the rack for Noah. No good options. Partially a byproduct of him taking out the triple, making a huge sacrifice to do so last turn at the expense of his leave. When you don't manage your leave well, this is where you end up. So he's going to have to try to climb out of this. Anything jumping out to you, Jared?
I knew you were going to ask me, and I haven't found anything better beneath populate yet, and you got to do better than that. You need to get rid of multiple vowels. So if I were him, I'd be taking a few minutes here to try and find something that can at least shed 3 or 4 of those vowels. I wouldn't even discount the possibility of exchanging, although you really don't want to if you can find a long enough play to avoid it.
COOED plays, just dropping OOE for 16 points. It's not the best leave, AAPY, and that's even worse when you consider 5 more A's are still in the bag. But there aren't very many options for Noah on this turn because his rack is just so poor. ALOE plays through the L in populate to play off some different vowels. PTOOEY plays through the blank T in verse sets. But there are not many good options here for Noah. Maybe Atopy, ATOPY through that P as well. But he's going to end up just grabbing points. POI, he needs to find consonants. I'm afraid he's going to end up and get A's and I's on this turn. Let's find
It's
out.
a pretty ugly pool. From his perspective, there were 5 I's, the Q, the X, the J, the W, 2 U's. We've seen a lot of the good tiles be played. So it's another one of those games where the scoring tiles are going to become the big thing here. He did draw an F, which does slot nicely beneath the E and populate, although he won't be able to go all the way across. As Chloe quickly plays G, holding SLING, which is a very strong lead that could hit in a few different spots on this board.
All right, so Chloe quickly dropping JEE here, and there's not much I have to add. You could potentially put ING behind that to score 7 extra points now, but wisely, Chloe trying to stay closer to bingo range in that instance. Just playing the JE, keeping the powerful sling combination, and doesn't get the vowel she's looking for. Instead, an X. Chloe's missed on her fish. Noah, AAEFOOY on his rack. Another yucky rack. Another opportunity to capitalize on the oversets hook. And another turn where Noah does not play there. He must not be confident on that word or must be blind to it. But FOE the play. He's scoring some points. He's getting rid of these vowels. That's all you can do is you try to hold on to your narrow lead. But we'll see if he's able to after Chloe cashes in this X.
Yeah, he drew a couple more vowels. He did get an N, but it's been slow slugging out of that bad rack for him, as Chloe does use that X, scores 50, but will burn her only vowel. So as often is the case, one player has a lot of vowels and the other player just naturally is going to have a lot of consonants.
I have no idea who's going to win this game, and that's the way I like to have it. We like a good, tight game of Scrabble, and that's what we're going to get here between Noah and Chloe. After the X-Bomb, Chloe now leads by 18, 292 to 274, catching up without bingoing after Noah's Bazil play. Noah, AAAINOY, another bad rack. It's just kind of been recursive for him. He can't work his way out. His racks have been so poor that he can't get out, and he's not going to be able to get out again here. I still don't know what to do. Just another awkward turn for Noah, all kind of compounded by the miss of booze earlier in this game.
Yeah, I guess you could play banana and like sort of work through this rack through the B and the N disconnected again, but that's leaving an IOY. I see irony, but that leaves 3 A's. His options aren't good. That's why I think 2 turns ago he might have had to exchange. It's tough. He had this slight lead. He wanted to keep, the pressure on Chloe, making her feel like he was in the driver's seat. But sometimes when your tiles are so bad, you really do have to just take the sacrifice and exchange. This is a good play.
He's going to keep trying to score points, and this AINO leave is bingo prone enough. There aren't really bingo opportunities, but you've got to do something. You've got to score some points. Raya's a reasonable way to do that, but more vowels for Noah. Another rough pull for him. AGLNRSU, the rack for Chloe. She is ahead by 4 and has most of the remaining goodies in this game. A nice balanced rack. No playable bingos for her, but she can keep herself in range in decent striking distance. 4 unseen eyes as well synergize very well with whatever she opts to leave here, especially if she can keep the S and G combination together. You see anything that stands out to you so far on this turn, Jared?
No, I'm still looking, but for sure she's going to want to keep the S. The tiles she'd want to play off, I think, would be some combination of lung or gull. You want to keep the G for ING because there's so many I's, but I don't know if you have to bingo, so you just might have to play the G. I guess you could look to throw the LU down somewhere, leaving rangs. If you really want to go for that I, there are 4 of them unseen to her, so it is somewhat likely she'll draw one, but there are 27 tiles unseen. It's tough. You don't want to get caught fishing, but it's a tough board. Like, you don't want to play lag, for example, to the right of foe, it just gives back too much and leaves you with just the U. You definitely want to get rid of the U if you can. Have you found a candidate play? I haven't really seen anything that I like.
The top equity play, according to Quackle, and this is equity. This is simply the number of points I get plus the valuation of my leave on a neutral board. But the top equity play is just taking the R tile and setting it behind a JEE for 13 points. The more I look at this situation and realize all of the options for Chloe are pretty terrible, the more I'm like, well, why not do that? Now, you would have to go through and figure out, okay, how often do I draw a bingo that plays on this board? A lot of pulls into AGLNSU draw a bingo, but you can't just draw a bingo. You need to draw a playable bingo. Noah's shown he's not opening anything up for you. So AGLNSU would need to draw a bingo that can hit with OGs or a bingo that plays from the F, and I'm seeing nothing that she can draw.
Yeah, it's a frustrating
AGLNSU,
turn.
it's a good leave on most boards, but it's not a good leave on this board. Flash gun would be the only thing she could draw, and there aren't even H's to be drawn. So,
The pool is really ugly. We're thinking maybe if she draws an I, she can have ING, but there's also 4 A's unseen. So, playing off one of those A's could maybe work well for her. I'm just like, you don't want to play slung or something, slang, burn your S. It doesn't make any sense. You have to keep that S. It's so powerful. And the Scrag hook is a lot weaker now that foe came down, but you could still get a play ending in an SK there that could really score a lot going forward. So, especially with OGs, you need to keep that S. You got to do something in between, but I still haven't found anything. Jeer is fine, but doesn't hit, right? So if it doesn't hit, it's really not that effective.
the more I look at this position, the more I'm like, I just don't want to lose this game this turn. I don't want Noah to bingo with OG'd or OGs, and that's essentially game over. And I don't want him to bingo with oversets either. So the longer I look at this situation, the more I look at this unseen Val heavy pool, the more I'm like, maybe I just play GAUNS and OGs for like 16, 18 points. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I do just throw away my S to make sure your S also has no value. I don't like to say this out loud. It feels mean, but if I'm Chloe and the way I've seen Noah's sequence the last several turns, I just feel like I'm the stronger player here. So rather than trying to avoid, or rather than putting things up to chance, whoever draws the OG'd or OG's bingo wins this game. I'm just going to block right now and make him take me down into the trenches with 5 minutes and ticking on Noah's clock. I might just play Gons for 18, seeing nothing else good. This is a really important turn, though, for Chloe.
But if he has the last S and she plays Gons and he sets up an S, then all of a sudden, I really don't want to burn that S. You could. I also think, you're saying oversets is an option, but he just played foe. You're starting to think maybe he hasn't seen oversets. So I understand your logic for playing it that way. I can't see myself doing that. And I'm looking at the chat here, trying to find a nice option. Also, Gons is not a word, but Guan, I guess, would work there.
Guan,
but even the chat doesn't seem to have found anything too enticing. People seem to like tongue. I guess that would come from the T of Verset. So that is sort of like, if you don't have the S, I'm in great position. But you were saying you don't want to lose the game on this turn. That's the sort of play where you could lose the game on this turn.
Oh, man. You can also just cash in and play Slung at the bottom of this board. You can play off a ton of tiles and play Fungal at the top from that F. Like, this is an extremely hard turn, and I have no idea what to do. And Chloe's got to use a lot of time to navigate a ridiculous turn. Whatever she plays is not going to feel good here, but at some point you do just have to do something.
A lot of the time playing like slung or something would be fine, but the pool is pretty ugly. Do you want to be drawing 5 tiles from that pool? If you draw poorly, you could be in a really poor position. Whereas if you play something shorter, it's sort of one of these almost swang positions in chess where you don't want to be the one to make the move. So I'd be very scared playing something like slung, even though from an equity perspective, it makes a lot of sense.
Every option here is terrible for
Terrible.
different reasons. But she's got to do something. You can't just sit here and end the game because you don't like any of your plays. I have no idea how Chloe's going to play this turn, and I can't say I'd play it any better. I'd be sitting there just shaking my head, tapping my tiles exactly as she is. Very difficult turn for Chloe. And I wish I
Yeah.
were wiser, but I can't offer much insight here.
I still haven't found to play. Like, are you supposed to play gray, Gray, through the RY? Dang. Okay, that's fine. I don't know what to say. Like, I don't see any good ideas here.
Now, like I would have loved to keep the NG combination with 4 unseen eyes, but there's like not really places to play RUL for points. Playing just FURL for 7 seems nutso. Like I have no idea, but Chloe's finally been put out of the misery. She doesn't have to think about it anymore. She holds on to the U, wills the Q out of the bag immediately, and she'll have a much easier turn on this next one. Noah quickly playing NAOI. He's feeling a little bit of time pressure, and this play feels great for him. So NAOI, the play for Noah, and we're back over to Chloe, AILQRSU.
Yeah, both players feeling the time, both around 5 minutes. There's 20 tiles left. So Chloe is going to want to score here, but I haven't seen. She's setting up QIS here with Scrag. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, especially because she's holding the U. So her idea here would be to play QIS in the top left. It scores really well, 36, 7, 44. And then she still has the U to sort of respond with. The problem is if her opponent has a U, he's always going to be threatening a big play there. And it's really hard to block there after QIS comes down if you don't have another I. And even with another I, it's tough.
All right, she's playing QIS, and I think that's about as good as you're gonna do. You got to score some points. You got to keep moving this game along at this point. You know, the end game likely to come down, or this game likely to come down to an end game, just given the complexity overall and the shape of the board. So do something, get some points, put some pressure on Noah. I like it. Chloe now ahead 349 to 301, finds the other U, doesn't have to worry about Noah now hitting down from the queue, but does have to worry about holding on to her lead with a nasty AAFLRUU. Noah, meanwhile, AEILMTW. I see he can play Tawie, TAWIE, on the bottom of this board. He can still threaten some points. Ma up top alongside FOE, another good option for him here. But he needs to keep making plays quickly. Still 17 tiles unseen. There's a lot of Scrabble yet to be played. Tick, 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 we're going. Jared, what do you see here? Tawie, Ma, something different entirely?
Yeah, Ma gives back a lot of easy scoring, but it might have to be the play. He does have to keep things sort of alive here. He is down 48 all of a sudden. Tai, the problem is just the pool's kind of ugly. So unless you're drawing into like an ABLE bingo or something, you're going to lose a lot of the time. So he's now has a couple different options. He doesn't know he can't draw a U, but down from the Q or across from the M. That makes sense to me, even though it kind of looks non-standard. What do you think? That's a tough one.
I think you have to play, you have to score some points and just see where the tile bag takes you at this point. I think doing something and doing something fast is the most important part. And look at that, he's pulled into Dentil's.
And it fits.
Doesn't quite fit. Oh, it does fit?
It does fit to the right of now NAOI, doesn't it? Yeah, it does.
Oh, wow. 4 overlaps. Yeah, I was looking at OG's hooks, but Dentil's just fits alongside NAOI. That's incredible. Wow, that's going to feel really bad for Chloe when it comes down.
Assuming he notices the overlaps, which he should. This is a very easy bingo for a player of his caliber. And, the blank blindness sometimes gets you. The blank is a T here, but people don't necessarily see it. But you do have to find that spot. Looks like Chloe was considering mural. Now she's pulled back. Maybe you're going to play Mall. She wants to think about how many tiles are left unseen. So there are 7 in the bag at the moment. So she's considering her tempo. How many tiles, if you were Chloe, would you want to be playing on this turn?
Oh my goodness. So 7 in the bag. If it's going to be a tight game, you generally try to leave 3 in the bag. That tends to let you go out before your opponent. But she's going to opt instead just to play AR, keep things a little bit more compact. And Mural can give back some huge underlaps. So while that does leave 3 in the bag, like you'd like to do, you don't want to get hit with a huge play from Noah. AR the decision from Chloe. Den tills the rack for Noah. He's counting now. He could be counting for a number of reasons, but Dentil's certainly a word he knows, one of those baby bingos. Will he notice the spot in a time crunch, though?
It scares me when he hasn't set it up right away, but I like that decision by Chloe to keep things tight. You don't want to give a new lane. Doesn't look like many bingos fit on this board. It happens that it does this time. Both players are getting low on clock. Let's see. It's getting closer to setting it up, but not quite. Oh, this is tense. I don't know who's going to win. If he finds Dentals, I think he's probably in the slightest bit of a commanding position. But even then, Chloe has some scoring titles. It's going to be tight.
This is going to be a really interesting game all the way down to the wire. Yeah, I don't know who's going to win, but I do know it'll be rather interesting. I think advantage Chloe just because she has so many extra points on the board. But, it looks like he's got DINT set up. Is he going to miss the bingo?
If
he misses the
Dentals goes
bingo,
down, he should win. He's now that I'm doing the math because he's down 45. But he's setting up his ass. Okay, he's giving himself a pathway. I like that. It's obviously not ideal, but I like when players at least show that they're thinking, that they're coming up with a pathway to victory, as we like to say.
And we'll see where that pathway leads him. EEKLOST, skeleton, almost fits to the end, but not quite there.
Wow, so she has like a word of BUMF on her rack that often when you have that word, it's the word you have to play. I don't see a spot for it. I do see the pool looks a bit off in the corner. The bag is now empty, so both players know what they have. For some reason, we're showing an I, not an S, unseen to her. So maybe you just misentered at some point.
Oh, man, yeah. So Chloe needs to figure out a way to block as best as possible. She needs to block as many of the options as possible. Flat is going to stop Keats or anything like that from coming down for Noah. I've completely bricked my computer. I'm lucky I can even see things, but I can't type anymore. So I'm not going to be able to take us on this one through the endgame engine. We're just going to have to do it the old-fashioned way and try to figure out what on earth is happening. Chloe would love to set up out in 2 sequences that play off as many of these tiles as possible, or out in 2 sequences that block the big setup that Noah's just made. But with the rack this bad, I think flat's just about all you can do.
Yeah, like I guess fault uses one of the U's, and then would there be a spot for bum, and would that be enough to win? But the fault makes it easier for him to respond, I believe, just because the U is easier to play a letter to the right. These are the sort of decisions you got to actually permutate and go through one by one. But with such little time, both players are pressed. Although once again, Noah looks quite relaxed. He doesn't look like a player. He doesn't look like a player who's down by 50 and trying to find his sequence with just a couple minutes left. And Chloe's got a really ugly rack there of BUUMI. Oh, so the bag wasn't empty. There was one in the bag and she drew the I. So sorry about our little gaffes from a commentary perspective, but I think we are now on point.
I think the only way, I don't know if this sequence wins, but Ketal and oversets holding ES to go out with AE and Dents looks like awesome to me. Or ES first holding Ketal. I think you have to play Ketal on oversets, but Noah has been blind to that spot all game. Trying to do math on that, that's 38 for Ketal would make him down 12. ES is a huge out. Does Ketal win? I don't know. And I'm trying to talk and do math at the same time, which is extremely hard. Chat, help me out. Is Ketal a winning sequence for Noah? I don't have Quackle anymore. I'm dead.
That looks really good to me. I also see like Stoke and L, but that's not going to be enough points. I thought quickly about Toke leaving the S to set up like L's, but that's just dumb. It doesn't make any sense. This Ketal sequence is really strong, but can Chloe score just enough with her big tiles, the B and the M, to negate it? Like, we still don't know who's going to win, and I love it.
Quackle going out made this one even more complicated, but I see nowhere for Chloe to cash these big plays. I think Ketal's a winner for Noah, but Stoke, all he's able to see in this time crunch, missing the oversets hook that has been there all game, but eluded him all game. He'll miss it one more time, and that's likely the end of this one. I think Chloe will just barely hang on. Just BUM atop OG should do it, but she's got almost no time. It's always chaos in these situations.
Or to the left of Stoke, the M will triple and then double. So I also didn't see where the B or the M would go after Ketal. It looked like a really strong play. So nicely spotted by you, even without the familiar crutch. Oh, she's leaving 2 U's here, but she's going to score a lot, and he doesn't really have the tiles to slow play her. This is going to be enough to win.
Yeah, this is enough. Chloe's going to hang on. Wow, what a ridiculous game. Back and forwards to the end. Opportunities for both of these players. But Noah, at the end of the day, making a series of misses that stacks up into an L for him. Wow. Wow, what a game. And Chloe, hats off to her, staying focused, staying fixated, and sneaking this one out in a time crunch. Let's cut to overhead mic. This is going to be some great banter here.
This game so far.
Was it? Well, I'm glad.
It was stressing the whole
somewhat
time.
of a challenge there, but
Oh my God.
well, it was great.
Yeah, no, I feel like I totally messed up a lot of moves. Like this turn obviously took me forever.
Yeah, that was. That was
It was
rough
definitely
move.
wrong.
I had
I
several
just couldn't
of
come
those.
up with anything.
My board was a little tough. And I
Yeah, it
figured
was-
you were kind of setting up that
Yeah,
grab
I mean,
hook, so I had
I
to shut
just-
you down there a little bit. But
Yeah.
She's
No, I drew the Q and I had a U and I was thinking of SQU. I was thinking of saving it to go for something there, but
Yeah.
there was like a K out, so I was worried about an SK play because I would score a ton of points. And then, yeah, I guess you didn't have any bingos, but from my perspective, there were a few you could have had.
Yeah, that K.
So I had to be
hurt me.
careful.
Yeah. Figured, the 2 spots, I might
Yeah.
have some shot there, but that was my only shot. I think I was too
Yeah.
far behind to try to
Right.
outscore you otherwise. So.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, I have no idea. Wow,
Yeah,
that
I had
was
skills,
super hard.
I just
Yes,
didn't really
exactly.
I'm sure I missed some stuff earlier.
Oh,
I
I
had
don't
some
know.
easy plays thrown to it.
No, I
was kind
probably-
of lame, but yeah.
I maybe should have exchanged on this turn. I just figured I was only giving you 2.
Yeah, that's
Because
not
after
bad.
you trade 2, but I only give you 2 floaters. I don't know. Because
I could have had. I could have had a lot
yeah.
of. Yeah.
I could have just exchanged DO and kept this plus DRS. So
Yeah.
might have been wiser. You wouldn't have anything to bingo with if I did that.
Yeah.
Oh
I
man,
played through
I was
too
like,
many, just multiple vowels.
Mm.
I know.
yeah,
I
the
should
back it was
exchange.
really vowel heavy at a certain point.
Yeah.
I guess you had all. Of
I had
them.
all of them. Yeah, I really needed to exchange. I just. Yeah, like 3 A's. I mean, I was playing through racks that like Raya, I had an
Right.
A and an I. Probably should have exchanged. I just
Yeah.
couldn't get. Then again, it wasn't that bingo friendly board, so I was like, well, and I can't really score, so I wasn't sure what to do.
Yeah.
I know what I did wasn't quite right, but
No, it's so those turns are
This
so.
was
This
good.
whole game was really hard.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know.
That
what
was super
made that
stressful.
game particularly difficult.
I know,
It
it's
was. I
Weird
didn't even know
racks
what
and
to
like
play here.
this was here like the whole time, and like no way to
I'm
block
amazed
it.
nobody played the S or D.
I know there was.
That.
I think like, yeah. By the time
D's
I
came
know
out.
the
Well,
Ds,
we
yeah,
had
the Ds,
3
yeah,
D's
the Ds
right
were played
there.
so
yeah.
early. There's no Ds, and then everyone was. I had this S for a while. I had it since I played G,
Yeah.
and I was holding on to it, hoping for like I kept sling. I had jingles. So I was hoping for like an S bingo here, or like
Yeah, that's
something
why I
with the
played
R.
fuzz.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah.
Finally got the S at the end. I was like, at least
Yeah.
I had it.
No, I know.
had a
And
prayer.
then, yeah, there wasn't. I feel like I couldn't find a better block than this. This is a really nice play. That was-
Which one?
Didn't.
Oh, did
Yeah, forced
At
my
least
hand.
it put a little
Yeah,
pressure on you. I didn't
otherwise I was
wanna,
just
I didn't
gonna
want to
block
bore you
you.
too much. Yeah, so.
No, that was not boring
Turn
at
three
all.
was good too.
Yeah.
I was a little, yeah.
I was worried because you just played like OG, which looked kind of fishy. So I
Yeah,
was
it
worried about
was.
opening up
It
a triple
was,
triple. But my other option that turn was Chai V, which I feel like would have actually probably given you a triple triple with that rack.
It should be there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it should
maybe.
be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's possible. 'Cause I hope I didn't miss
Oh,
anything. No,
I
I
didn't
don't
see.
think so.
I feel like I don't think
No.
so.
Too many vowels there. Yeah, I don't know. Populate was an extraordinary play there, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean it's hard with the blank.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a really hard game.
Yes.
Let me do the score. I guess
Oh yeah,
should
we have to make it official.
Yeah. 404-3-9.
Let's see my tally.
Awesome.
Yep. How about my phone?
That was a really hard game, I think, are the conclusions that everybody had from that one. And that's how you know you're really starting to improve to the upper echelons is these games that make your head hurt repeatedly. You start winning them more often. There are games like this where everybody feels like I've played really strange, but whoever does the most stuff and comes out in these strange games, that tends to be the sign that you're really coming along as a player. Major hats off to Chloe navigating some really tough situations, coming out with a big W. That's the big W energy we've had going on all weekend here in South Bend. This is going to wind down our coverage of day 2 of the Scrabble Players Championship, but fear not, plenty more Scrabble coming your way. 14 rounds done, 17 more to be played. We'll be back here with coverage. Tomorrow morning, we will shift back to the CSW lexicon. I am thrilled to be joined by Mina Lay in the commentary booth. And tomorrow afternoon, it'll be Matt and Jared back on for NWL action. Lots more Scrabble coming your way from the Scrabble Players Championship. But we're going to start to wind down for today. Would love to interview Chloe after that not-so game, but I'm having a ton of technical difficulties and unfortunately can't pull that off. Jared, before we set our audience free for the day, what parting words do you want to send their way?
I just want to say that we saw 3 great games, lots of great plays. Hats off to Chloe in this one. She's going to be a contender going forward. Seth, Mac, Joe, Joey, Ian, Chloe, and then Howard and Knox all seem to be at 9 wins or more. We're waiting for a few more scores to come in, like Kenneth and Noah, so they can join them too. There's lots of people in contention. We got 3 more days to come, and I'm really looking forward to 3 more exciting games tomorrow afternoon.
The real winners so far in this tournament are everybody who has tuned in for this stream. I think of the 14 we've had, 12 have been awesome games. 13 have had, moments for sure that made it worth tuning in. And we are getting so much educational stuff, the good, the bad, and the ugly from so many talented players. Tons more Scrabble. 9 a.m. Eastern is when we go live tomorrow. So we hope to see as many of you as possible tune in across your workday, or if you're happily retired or not working, just tune on in for your summer. We hope to see plenty of you here, but a lot more drama coming your way, a lot more high-level Scrabble right here on Twitch. Signing off for today is Matt Canik and Jared Cappel. We will see you all bright and early tomorrow. Until then.
Take care.